though the world is still spinning. La 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 la. I guess this means I've lived to play another inning. La 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 la. They tried to slap that look right off my face, but I'm still grinning. And the money ain't run out yet, so I do believe I'm winning. For all the mess I was, am and will be continuing, and the fun is only beginning. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la.
Hello and welcome to Don't Bury the Lead. We recap WWE Smackdown every Friday night after the bell. My name's Jonathan Dell. I'm joined by Dom Scarcella. Dom, go ahead and tell the people a little about yourself.
We're back doing Smackdowns for another week here. WWE is rushing to get us to the next premium live event. Did they succeed with tonight's Smackdown? Without further ado, John, don't bury the lead. What's our top story from SmackDown for June 7th?
Dom, we don't ever bury the lead.
No.
And our lead is the main event. We have the new Bloodline, Tama Tonga, Tonga Loa, and Solo Sikoa in it versus Kevin Owens, Montez Ford, and Angelo Dawkins in a 3-man tag match. Pretty good action here, back and forth. Not a lot of time for the match, but it ends in a big schmoz as the Bloodline cheat, bash. Solo Sikoa hits somebody with a chair, and there's a big schmoz, and they triple powerbomb Kevin Owens through the table, and the Bloodline stands strong. Kind of a throwback to the Bloodline ending the show with the finger up and not a lot going on. Dom, what'd you think of this main event?
10 minutes from bell until disqualification. You were right. This match, hard hitting, fast when it needed to be. I think all 6 guys gave a decent showing of themselves in the 10 minutes that they had. There's 6 people got to get something in there in 10 minutes or so. They saved the hot tags for Kevin Owens and Solo Sikoa almost 8 minutes into the match, and then we finally got to see them go at it. That looks like it might be really what Kevin Owens is suited for. He's the A-lister with the big name who's going to try to elevate Solo Sikoa. I was not real high on this match. There were a couple things I saw that I was wondering if they were, like winks to people. Like Montez Ford came out with a red Solo cup during his entrance. Like, was that a nod to Solo Sikoa? Like, hey, because they haven't been doing the Solos cups. They've been kind of get away from the frat boy gimmick.
Yeah, they're somewhere in between, right? Because it felt like they were going to turn heel, and then they didn't turn heel, and then they started to get more serious. But I don't know. They're kind of like all over the place a bit.
Can they be baby faces without being the frat boys? I think they can.
Yeah,
I think they can. I'd like to see it. This was. Do you like where they're going with this? Where they're trying to give all of the members of the Bloodline new titles? Say they started this at the beginning of the show with all 3 of them in the ring, and then eventually they get jumped. They call out Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens comes running out. Then the Street Profits come to back up Kevin Owens. So the opening segment of the show really sets up this. So this is a good bookend show here. Brawl at the beginning sets up the main event match. Do you like where they're going? Trying to give these guys, a little more, some gravitas. Solo Sikoa is officially the head of the table. Tama Tonga is the right-hand man, which I think Jey Uso was at one time. And Tonga Loa is now the infamous Tonga Loa. So they're all getting these extra nicknames and titles, and Paul Heyman's pretending that he's terrified of Solo Sikoa. And is it working for you? We'll go through what's working for you in the new Bloodline and what's not. What's working for you, and is there anything that's not working for you?
I like Tama Tonga.
Okay.
But the other guy just looks like another version of Tama Tonga, and I mixed them up.
Yes,
So
right.
I feel like there's got to be a little bit of a differentiator in like their gear or something, because I literally don't know which one's which sometimes. And I guess that's a good thing for a tag, or if that's like a style with like
It's like the
basically
Usos again, right?
it is
It
like
took you a
the
while
Usos.
to figure out, okay, which one's Jay, which one's Jimmy.
Yeah, I mean they really both transformed though at some
Yes.
point. Maybe they'll get them kind of more and more transforming into different characters, but they just seem like the same guy. Like they just created a wrestler and then pressed the duplicate button, and it's just like the same other guy.
There you go. Create a wrestler on your video games.
Yeah,
A
and they just
little copy and paste there.
yeah. So I think that as far as the match is concerned, Big Schmaz, I guess they're just trying to angle everything here. I always like to like give the crowd a real match, but it wasn't really that. It was more like storyline stuff. But I get they only had like 2 weeks to build to a pay-per-view. So with the way they've been delivering on the pay-per-views though, I won't be too mad if they just deliver, right?
Yeah, if Clash of the Castle turns out to be, awesome 8 days from now on that Saturday the 15th, and we'll get to more of Clash of the Castle because I have some questions about it.
Oh,
But before we get off of this main segment here, Solo Sikoa, he's been on the main roster. I think it's still less than 2 years. He showed up summer of 2022. You remember, you were watching WWE like 10 years ago, a little more, right?
yeah.
You remember Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
Solo Sikoa, is he ahead, behind, or about the same place that Roman Reigns was almost 2 years into Roman Reigns' stint on the main roster?
Ooh, good question. I like Solo a lot, so I'm going to go ahead and say ahead.
It seems to me that he's ahead, doesn't it? Because it seemed like Roman Reigns, just from going through some of the history, he took a while to get into his character. You had talked about the Suffer and Succotash promo that was rather infamous. It looks like Solo's ahead of the curve there.
Oh yeah, totally. I think he's ahead of the curve, and especially how quickly he's come along. From being not even a real wrestler that you would even recognize. Maybe he's on NXT or something, but just in a couple years, being in the main events all the time, owning the whole bloodline, and it's not like Heyman's carrying too much of it. I think he's doing a lot too.
Yeah, I think Solo's doing well. I mean, Tama and Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa. Tama Tonga seems to be a little shorter than Tonga Loa, and maybe not as wide in the shoulders. I'm trying to distinguish them as well, just visually as I watch them. But they all got a little bit of mic time today in the opening segment. Not a lot, but Solo Sikoa, I think, has really come along well.
Oh yeah,
I think so. I think Solo is probably ahead of where Roman was at this stage of the career, and that's got to bode well.
Totally, and he's doing really. The whole time we've been watching SmackDown, which is like a year and a half, almost 2 years. Well, we'll call it about a year and a half still. We've been watching SmackDown. He's been really solid the whole time. And I think they're like pushing him the right way, and all the storyline stuff kind of makes sense. So that's Solo.
I like it. I don't have anything else to say about the main event because it was a DQ. It was 6 guys, eventually they all just got punches and kicks in. I wonder where they go with this. It has to lead somewhere. It looks like maybe Kevin Owens is the next big rival for Solo Sikoa. And maybe the Street Profits and the Tongas can have a good throwdown as well. I mean, people don't have to be in the title picture to have good matches and to have reasons for them to be competing and vying with each other, right? I mean, there's no belts involved here.
No, but they have 2 sets of tag titles floating around now, and the Street Profits definitely are good enough. And what we've seen a little bit from this Bloodline tag team, they look like they're pretty good too. So,
we can get to the tag teams in the follow here. So, are we ready to get to something else?
Dom, that's the lead. Let's move on to the follow. So, we don't ever bury the lead. But we're going to talk about the rest of the show in the follow. And maybe you could start us off here. What's the next match you want to talk about?
Oh, if you want to let me go and lead the follow here, it's not going to be a match. Before this main event here, there was a promo battle with Bayley and Piper Niven. I hadn't seen Piper talk before. She gets into the ring with the microphone, says her first line in the ring. The crowd whats her. She side-eyes the crowd and goes, "Inbred, say what?" And the crowd goes, "What?" Like they realized it. And then for the rest of her promo, like there were some whats, but they weren't as loud. So kudos to Piper Niven for just an old school heel move. She's in Louisville, Kentucky. Inbred, say what? What?
It's a perfect location too. It wasn't like idiots say what. Inbreds, I think, hits a little harder in
Inbred,
Kentucky.
say what? She's out in Appalachia. Inbred, say what? So other than that, this is one of those big matches that they've added to Clash at the Castle. Clash at the Castle, we're 8 days away. They did an advertisement that at least I saw on the broadcast, telling people for tickets to Clash at the Castle, go here. They haven't sold it out yet. They're 8 days away. They also seem to be stacking the pay-per-view with title matches. This is almost a WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
They've announced 4 title matches. It's Bayley versus Piper Niven for the WWE Women's Championship. They've announced tonight triple threat match for the women's tag team titles. It's going to be Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill, the champs, versus both Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark, and Alba Fire and Isla Dawn, who have some United Kingdom connections. And then both men's big titles are on the line because they announced Cody Rhodes and AJ Styles in an I Quit match tonight. They are stacking this pay-per-view. It sounds like they're having trouble selling tickets.
Oh, I didn't even think about that because they're throwing all like the kitchen sink at it.
It's crazy. Everything is going on this pay-per-view. It's 3 weeks since Backlash.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean they're over in the UK, but they're not even in like London or they're out in Scotland somewhere. Which, no offense to Scotland, but it's like doing a US pay-per-view in like Louisville, Kentucky.
Yeah.
Again, no offense to Louisville, but it's not LA.
No, it's not a big market.
It's not New York, Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
It's not something like that. So I wonder if they're having trouble selling out the venue.
Yeah,
We're going to watch, but
I wonder if they're, because I know, wasn't the other Clash at the Castle a really big venue they did, and I think they got close to selling it out, or it was sold out, and they had a big number in last year's Clash at the Castle.
Did they do one last year, or was it 2022, just before we started watching?
Oh, it must have been like before we started watching, so it was 2022.
We may get to that in Cheap Heat.
Ah, okay.
That's a teaser. But so this a lot of what went on in the show just struck me as, wow, they are loading up a B or C level pay-per-view, that's almost being rushed in the summer trying to build to SummerSlam.
Mm-hmm.
This is a lot of title belts on the line. So other than that, I thought this was kind of boring-ish. Bayley is not getting the big pops that you would think. I think a lot of people were glad to see her win the title from Io Sky at WrestleMania and turn babyface, but it's become a now what?
Yeah.
We did a video about that with Cody Rhodes' WWE Universal title, the now what. I maybe we'll talk about whether or not Cody Rhodes is starting to turn the corner there, but Bayley's in the same boat. She might be in a now what. Like, it was the feel-good story for her to win and be a babyface. Now what? There wasn't a lot of heat for this promo other than people saying what, which Piper Niven shut down.
Right.
And Chelsea Green doing her best heel Bayley impression, calling everybody losers.
Yeah, I thought she did a good job shutting down the whats, but they kind of kept coming. Chelsea Green was doing very goofy promo, kind of, again, a bit of a throwback, right? She feels like a diva. She looks like a diva. She kind of talks silly and goofy like a diva. But I like Chelsea Green. And
I do too.
I like their backstage thing at some
Mhm.
point when Chelsea Green and Piper Niven are like cuddled up together, and she's like, she just starts to lean into Piper Niven like she's the husband, but she's taller, and Piper Niven's like holding her. It's just
She's
very
already
goofy.
taller and she's wearing heels. Piper Niven looks like a midget.
Yes, I know. Yeah, Chelsea
Like
Green
someone's
looks
got to
like
fix that visual. They're not. I mean, there's a height disparity, but it's not that bad.
But I think Chelsea Green's very goofy and funny in certain points, and yeah. But I know this promo wasn't so hot.
Right before this, there was another altercation. Tiffany Stratton pitches an allegiance with Nia Jax. Then Michin confronts Nia Jax and winds up throwing a cup of ice in her face. And then it looked comical as Nia Jax is slipping on the ice that's now all over the floor.
I know that was the most notable part of that whole promo or the
Right.
whole backstage segment is Nia Jax stump. First she slipped, and then she slipped again. So she
there's ice all over the floor.
Yeah. Yeah. So she like, it's funny. Like, how do you get the big man down? Like the big man always does like the big man thing where they can't get up. It's like, well, I guess she could just slip on something.
Yeah, just throw ice in her face, and then the ice is on the floor, and now there you go. So that was some women's wrestling promos in the second hour there that were maybe notable for what looked like either botches or just something else.
Mhm.
So I just wanted to get that in. Inbred say what?
Brad say what?
So
Hey,
now we can go to a match. Although I gotta say there wasn't a lot of good match stuff to talk about on this show. There was one really good match we got.
Yeah.
And I mean, do you want to go there next? It was LA Knight versus Carmelo Hayes.
Yeah, for sure.
This may be the best under 10-minute match I've ever seen. 9:10 was the bell. The pinfall happens. LA Knight at 9:19. So this was a 9-minute match, but it was cool.
Very good.
Aside from the ones where they were trying to make him almost a comedy jobber to Xavier Woods a year and somewhat time ago, LA Knight hasn't had a not good match.
Yeah, for sure.
And this one was good with Carmelo Hayes. There was a good series of blocks of guys finishing moves, but then eventually LA Knight does hit his pop-up power slam, then the leaping elbow. But then Carmelo Hayes escapes the blunt force trauma. As they square off again, Mello rolls him up and grabs the tights. LA Knight kicks and reverses at 2.5 and pins Carmelo Hayes with a reversal roll-up without grabbing the bottom rope, even though he was very close to it. So LA Knight with a babyface win here. Really good match. Anything from this match that you wanted to highlight? I mean, I had a few, but we'll throw it to you. What did you like or not like?
For sure. So I love the finish. Loved it.
Okay.
I love that they're getting away from, he's setting him up for the finisher, and then he hits the finisher, and that's the only way that matches can ever end. Like, he just reversed a roll-up. It was a roll-up and then reversed a roll-up, and then I was like, this is awesome.
Neither guy hit his finisher.
Yeah, and it was like totally made sense from where they were headed all match, and I love there was a point where LA Knight does a scoop slam, and then he goes for the scoop slam again, just right after he hits a scoop slam, and then Carmelo Hayes rolls him up. It's like he read his move because like that's how wrestling is. Like if you keep doing the same thing and become predictable, then as another wrestler, like you can reverse that. You know, you're like, oh, he just keeps doing this one thing. I'm gonna just do whatever.
There were a good series of blocks I liked as well, sort of in that same vein that you were talking about. Mello took too long on the top turnbuckle. LA went up to meet him on the second turnbuckle, but Carmelo Hayes punched LA Knight off the turnbuckles, and LA staggers back to the opposite corner. And you know what's coming? The leap up to the top rope for the superplex. LA goes into it. Mello drops off the top turnbuckle onto the apron. So that was a good block there. LA follows him to that side of the ring. Hip tosses him into the ring, but Mello rolls through and lands on his feet, and then this pops back up to his feet. So, each guy was kind of, like well scouted your opponent there, and we're reversing things. And since they've had a match already, maybe one or two confrontations already, this kind of makes sense in their match progression. That you're not going to surprise the guy with the same old stuff. You've already wrestled him once or twice. You're going to have to do something new. So this was a good old-fashioned pro wrestling match, wasn't it? In 9 minutes.
Yeah,
I liked it. Nothing bad to say. That this seems to be what they're doing, having LA Knight do before he gets to Logan Paul, who they announced that Logan Paul was not at tonight's show because he's in Los Angeles for a Tetris competition.
Yeah.
And then they had Logan Paul cut a promo from Los Angeles talking about he's at a Tetris competition. And that's just like the most unpro wrestling thing imaginable.
I love how
I can't face you because I'm at a video game competition. Just don't say anything. If that's what you're gonna say, don't say anything. If you don't have anything pro wrestling to say, then don't say anything at all. I'm at a Tetris competition is not a pro wrestling thing to say.
Yeah, I don't think the Iron Sheik was ever at a Tetris competition and was the big badass heel.
I'm playing the Pac-Man, so I cannot face Jabroni Hulk Hogan.
Actually, he might have been able to pull it off.
I don't remember that with Mean Gene ever.
No. Yeah, the Tetris thing's interesting because I think very young kids are into Tetris. So, surprise, surprise, because very young kids are like getting into Tetris. Logan Paul like swoops in. His demo is like 8 to 12 years old.
Right. The South Park did that about his energy drink being the top beverage for middle schoolers.
It's like all the 15-year-olds are playing Fortnite now, so he's got to get in the Tetris thing with all the 8 to 12-year-olds.
Although Tetris, that's a throwback to Gen X days,
Oh, yeah, I know.
Tetris, so it's a classic video game. I'm not knocking the video game. I'm just saying that it's not a pro wrestling thing to claim that you can't face your opponent because you're at a video game competition. Like that's not a pro wrestling thing to say. That's I'll leave it there for Logan Paul. Do better. Has Logan Paul become the Roman Reigns? He's the guy that's kind of around but not appearing and not wrestling.
Yeah, it's a little weird. But he only kind of wrestles in the pay-per-views because he was around a lot more, it felt like, heading into WrestleMania. Like he was at least on the shows and doing the promos, but I mean, they really seem to protect him and really take care of him. There's something this just doesn't feel like a Vince McMahon era thing that would have really flown. Like I think at the end of the day, he always just wanted people working as hard as possible all the time, like he was. So it's just weird to see him like be a part-timer, not be a veteran, but still get to be that part-timer champion.
We've been looking for a belt to be defended on SmackDown the way Gunther defended the Intercontinental title belt. If Logan Paul can drop this belt to LA Knight, does that become, do we get to see LA Knight title matches, once or twice a month on SmackDown? Would that be a good, make good for losing Gunther's IC belt all the time on SmackDown?
Right. No, totally. I think that would be a good thing to slot in if he wins the U.S. title. It kind of felt like he was going to win the U.S. title because they weren't giving him the big belt, although he could have gotten it, and I don't think anybody would have complained. But he's ready to win a championship. Logan Paul's done a good job at making that championship relevant because a lot of times they have titles that just never get defended, and you're like, oh, I forgot this person's even the champ. AEW does a terrible job with that. Like, they have so many belts, and you're like, and they all wear the belts all the time, and you're like, I don't even know what this belt is anymore.
Oh, we might get that, maybe a teaser for Cheap Heat as well.
Oh, yeah. That is true.
If you're watching us live right now or you're watching on the archive, tell us in the chat, tell us in the comments, What do you think of Logan Paul? He seems to be doing a good job of promoting to people outside of pro wrestling. Is that okay with you that he's not really hitting the pro wrestling groove with his promos? That he's trying to get the out of pro wrestling fan. What do you think of a lot of the promos we saw tonight? Is it making you more excited for Clash at the Castle, less excited for Clash at the Castle? What say you about it? And of course, stick around for Cheap Heat. But yeah, tell us what you guys think, because as we go through the follow here, there's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, there is a lot going on. I have like a good amount of notes here. So
where else do you want to go next? There are 2 other matches and some other backstage stuff, and another big in-ring showdown that happened.
I think the in-ring showdown, honestly, this is probably the best one of the night as far as the in-ring promo stuff with Cody Rhodes and AJ Styles.
Mm-hmm.
And basically they have a pretty good back and forth. And I'm really liking the fact that the crowd is chanting AJ sucks when AJ Styles comes out.
Yes.
But
he wanted to be a heel. He got his wish. He's a good heel, and the crowd's leaning into it.
The crowd, he changed his theme song because the other theme song was like, oh, that's like a babyface theme song. So he just changed his theme song up a little bit. And Cody Rhodes challenges him to an I Quit match.
Yeah, a little extra stipulation there. That's good, isn't it? Because you don't want them to just do a repeat of Backlash.
Yeah.
There's got to be some extra involved in this one. This is good pro wrestling long-term booking, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. And I like the direction that he faked the retirement, and now he's definitely the heel, and the crowd's chanting he sucks, and they're doing the I Quit match. And the I Quit matches are awesome. So I like the stipulation.
I like it too. I also like it that this is giving us our answer to the now what with Cody Rhodes. He looks like he's the more tough guy, just baby face now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's having words with Nick Aldis in the back as he's sitting there waiting for AJ Styles to show up to the arena. And then when they finally do, there's all this security separating them. So Cody just marches out to the ring and calls AJ out. And then, there's all the security people between AJ and the OC is behind him as well. And Cody Rhodes in the ring. So they have Cody Rhodes come out and try to fight through security to get to AJ. So they're trying to make Cody Rhodes just the tough guy babyface. They're not trying to make him, the spokesperson for, the company's quarterly earnings call with the stockholders.
Yeah, like he's not wearing the Pride WWE flag, super corporate guy right now. It's like instead of him being the corporate yes man, he's just like kind of gotten away from that a little bit. Maybe they're watching the show and he's just going to wrestle, they're going to wrestle.
They're watching Don't Bury the Lead as they have been. Perhaps the man with 3 H's will be back.
This is true. The man.
He was there last week when we did the live stream. Go back and check out the live stream for May 31st. The man with 3 H's joined us. And did the man with 3 H's have something to say? Oh, yes. We enjoyed that. But yeah, this is good. This is Cody Rhodes not wearing the suit. He looks like he's in his wrestling gear, and then a t-shirt with the sleeves cut off. Helping to sell some extra merch there on Shop WWE or wherever they have it online or in the arena.
Mm-hmm.
Looks more like he's there to wrestle, not to be a figurehead. And so maybe this is good.
Yeah. So that's that's that segment for the I Quit match is set up, and I like where that's headed, and that's always good to see. At least like we'll know the main event will be good next week. Where like Cody Rhodes, AJ Styles, that'll be good no matter what. They have a good storyline going. It's got the LA Knight AJ Styles vibe. The I Quit match, AJ probably will lose the I Quit match, but
is that now the main event of Clash at the Castle and not hometown guy Drew McIntyre going after the World Heavyweight Championship?
Oh, maybe. Oh man, how do you put I Quit is like? It feels like it's got to be the main. I don't know.
It's got to go on last, right? Like, how do they do this? They've been building for a while that, this would be Drew McIntyre's kind of his chance to headline the pay-per-view in Scotland.
Yeah. Good
And
problem.
now they're doing advertisements of please buy the tickets to the show in 8 days. And they're like, and tonight they threw 2 more title matches onto that card. There's 4 title matches on that card. When was the last time we saw a pay-per-view with 4 title matches?
Yeah.
WrestleMania? Other than WrestleMania, when does that happen?
I mean, they're usually only like 4 matches in general, 4 or 5.
There's 4 or 5 matches, yeah.
So, yeah, and they're not usually title matches. Yeah, that's a good question. I wonder if it's a weird time of year. It seems like they've been really a hot product and they've had no problem selling tickets. So it's interesting. Like they finally are having trouble selling tickets to one of their events. I
mean, they're in a tough spot. Like could they have pushed AJ Cody to the July pay-per-view? Did they have to do it right away? Because it almost sounds like they're rushing it. These guys just wrestled 3 weeks earlier.
Yeah.
In a great match.
Oh, everything's really rushed. I mean, they have no choice. They have 2 weeks of program. They have two shows, maybe 4 shows if you count Raw, which we don't watch, to get everything in, to get all these new matches set up. Yeah.
But the other stuff didn't feel rushed. Like Drew versus Damian Priest has been building since WrestleMania. That one doesn't feel rushed.
You mean the triple threat like women's tag match?
The women's tag match feels rushed.
Very rushed.
Bailey Piper Niven feels like they were building to it for a few weeks, so we'll give them that one. But the 2 that were announced tonight feel like they were rushed.
Yeah, they're just announced.
They were rushed onto this pay-per-view for next week. I mean, we're going to get title matches on a pay-per-view, so I'm not complaining, but it's odd based on the way WWE usually books.
Yeah. And maybe they're just trying to put Jade on one of the shows or put her on because they're like, maybe they think she's going to be a draw, or I don't know. Bianca Belair is probably the bigger WWE star, but Jade might have like, you know, she's gotten some big pops when she came out for like the Royal Rumble and stuff.
Sure.
So
that's the 9 o'clock hour. Well, what do you want to say about the 8 o'clock hour here? There were 2 matches.
Yeah. So I only saw one of them. So maybe I'll go to that one that I saw. Johnny Gargano versus Grayson Waller. And Grayson Waller knocks off Johnny Gargano in a solid matchup here. Not the match of the night, but hey, at least a wrestling match. What'd you think of this one between Gargano and Grayson Waller?
It looks like they're setting up something for these 2 tag teams to do. In fact, they announced that next Friday on SmackDown from Scotland will be a very special Grayson Waller effect.
Oh, no.
With DIY as the guests.
Okay.
Are you excited for that, John?
I thought we were done with it.
No, we're not done with it. Oh, no. The Grayson Waller effect comes back for special occasions.
He's just starting to get over as a wrestler. So let's do the Grayson Waller effect to take all the heat out of him.
Let's just kill the man's career, right? Just as it was taking off. So this seems to be just about getting these 2 teams a little more heat with each other.
Yeah.
Waller gets the pinfall here after Gargano makes a big mistake trying to dive to the outside. And instead of hitting Waller, he hits Austin Theory, who was at ringside, of course. Back inside the ring, Waller hits a sunset flip. It looked like an Prettier that Christian used to do.
Yeah.
Looked like a sunset flip on Prettier. It's a really athletic looking move. Gargano takes it well. For the pinfall, this was an 8-minute match. I don't know. Anything you want to say about this match, storyline-wise or match itself? I mean, I have a couple of spots I had written down here. I'm curious as to what you think of this.
Yeah, there was, I think the sunset flip, I just wrote modified pile driver because I wasn't sure what was going on. There was one pile driver looking move.
Yes, Corey Graves called that a modified destroyer.
Yeah, and
like a Canadian destroyer. Yes,
That looked really cool. I like that move. But and I didn't really know what it was, but I like it just kind of looks like a pile driver because it was it was like the Canadian destroyer, but better.
It was a Frankensteiner. It was a Hurricane Rana, but spike the guy rather than just flip him.
Yeah, I thought that one was pretty cool. Gargano, I thought was Austin Theory when I was watching. Sometimes I was like, he just looked like him there for certain stints.
Okay.
I was like, oh wow, they're brawling. I was like, oh wait a second, it's Johnny Gargano. Just don't see him a lot. I kind of forget he's on the roster, kind of guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, if we ever do the grading again, Mr. Gargano looks like he's a solid C.
He's a solid C. I don't. If he's there or not.
He's competent, but we're not quite sure if he's on the roster.
Yeah. He's not winning the
he's not a D. He's not detracting from the show, but
he's not winning the Ricochet Memorial Award.
No, not at all. Not in this one.
No.
He hit what they call a sliced bread, which is kind of a sunset flip neck breaker on the outside, but looks like he landed on his own head. To go to the first commercial. He hit that, and I'm like, oh my goodness, that is not good. But apparently he was able to continue, did not injure himself, finish the match. It was all right. Grayson Waller hit what they called a huge belly to back suplex, but it looked like it was more like an electric chair. Right, he gets the guy up on his shoulders and then just holds him there and drops backwards with him. So it was that kind of move that Waller hit. Not a great match. This was more to sell more of the tension between Austin Theory and Grayson Waller. They kept showing little shots on camera of Austin Theory sulking because Johnny Gargano hit him, and he thought maybe Grayson Waller pulled him in front of Gargano instead of, pushing him out of the way. Like, oh, my teammate just pulled me in front of to take the brunt of this leap here. Yeah, I don't know. They're teasing some sort of rift there.
No, I think it's interesting that they're teasing their rift without the title run being like solidified, but there's a lot going on right now, so I guess I can't get. It'll end up on like WWE Speed or something, them defending the titles, and we used to do that in NJCW when Ian Good would win a match against a pretend person, and Fran would be like, and Ian Good wins against Johnny Altado from Mexico City, Mexico, or whatever. And
it's the Sheriff Ian Good, crowd favorite, the Sheriff Ian Good from New Jersey Championship.
And it would just show a picture of Ian. Like,
yes,
it's like, oh, he wins in a dark match that you don't see. But
yes, he may have defeated Gravy Lee Jones.
Gravy Lee Jones, yeah, one of like the goofiest masked people that always loses.
One more match. You said you did not see it. It was the opener. Opening match was not the opening segment. It started 8:24.
I did not see it, so if you want to take it away, that would be helpful.
Sure. Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair versus Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell for the, I think this was a tag team championship match. I think the belts were on the line. This match goes 6 minutes, and the big thing of the match was Alba Fire and Isla Dawn were at ringside at the announce table. Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark were at ringside near the entrance side. So the champs win here. They do that double team move they've been working out where Bianca sort of hits a DDT while Jade Cargill holds the person's legs. And then Bianca, after delivering the DDT, gives a kick to the opponent, which helps send them over on a belly-to-back suplex. So they're trying something that looks like a unique double team maneuver for the champs here. It seems to work. They got the pin here in 6 minutes. And then post-match, the standby teams jump the champs and then throw down with each other until the champs re-enter the ring and dispatch all of them and stand tall. So this was sort of a 6 minute match that was really about the people who were on the outside and not the people who were in the ring. And then it became sort of the fodder for the champs asking for a triple threat match. at Clash at the Castle, which is a very un-babyface thing to do. You're putting yourself at a disadvantage. Why wouldn't you have the other two teams fight it out for who gets to be number one contender and then fight them? Why would you book yourself into a disadvantage match? Heels would never do that. Heels are smarter than baby faces, it seems. The baby faces are like, yeah, put us in a triple threat. Okay, you're in a triple threat. Usually being in a triple threat match for the champion is a punishment because the champs were doing something bad, like getting themselves disqualified or jumping people or interfering in number one contenders matches, at which point the GM punishes the champs by saying, you're going to face both of them. You're in a triple threat now. And the champs just cry, go, no, that's not fair. You can't put us in a triple threat. You put us at a disadvantage. Here the baby faces are asking for it.
Right.
Okay, whatever.
No, totally interesting. But it looks like there's still, I mean, just from your explanation, it's not a big surprise, but does it just feel like the format for Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill is Bianca does all the work, Jade gets the tag, and then they do the finisher? Is that sort of what they were doing?
Yes. Bianca is, the one selling all the time, and Jade gets the hot tag.
She gets the hot tag, she does her moves of doom, and then we move on.
Yeah, it's like who used to do this really well? Was it the Rock and Roll Express where Ricky Morton would just get the crap beat out of him and he'd make the hot tag to Robert Gibson?
Mm-hmm.
So something like that where they're almost being typecast. Like, okay, this one's going to start the match and do a lot of the selling and get a lot of the sympathy, and then that just builds to the hot tag, and then Jade has to come in. So
they did,
frankly, in a 6-minute match, there's not a lot of back and forth in psychology.
They did a tag match with Ronda Rousey when she first came in.
Okay.
And I think it was Stephanie McMahon and Ronda Rousey tagging, something like that. But
was it the mixed tag where it was Stephanie and Triple H?
Yes.
Against Ronda and someone?
Yeah. I'm sorry. It was the mixed tag. But Ronda just didn't do anything, got the hot tag, did her slams, everyone went crazy, and then they're like, Ronda's a star,
Yeah,
that was it. So just protecting her and then putting her with debatably the best worker, male or female, on the roster with Bianca Belair.
Yeah, Bianca's very versatile and very good at just about everything. So yeah, I don't think they're protecting her. Jade's being protected because she's in the tag team.
Mm-hmm.
And then the question becomes, okay, what's she doing in the tag team? Does it look too much like they're protecting her even in a tag team? In a 6-minute match, you can't tell. I think it'll be interesting to maybe answer that question at a pay-per-view with the belts on the line. And I wonder if the triple threat is a way to protect her. Like, are we going to see the champs just kind of slide in there at the end for the pinfall while Shayna and Zoe and Isla and Alba do most of the work?
Yeah, that'll be an interesting match. And I haven't seen a ton of really great triple threat tag team matches. No. So, I mean, if they get there early and they get their stuff in, and let's just say the crowd carries them because they're just crazy. So maybe that would be it. They're going to have to probably do a lot of high spots. But we'll see.
Something to watch for next Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Poor Apollo Crews got jumped by Legado del Fantasma.
Yeah.
And they were unable to have his match against Angel. That's about it. I think that's it for the show. And then there was LA Knight interrupting Nick Aldis after that and asking where Logan Paul is. And then Carmelo Hayes interrupted. And that became the LA Knight Carmelo Hayes match. And thank goodness for that.
Right. Because that really was the highlight of the show.
For me, at least. Did you want to go any more into the opening segment with the Bloodline in the ring and any of that? Did you see any of that and want to pick out some details?
They just appointed some people. You can go into
Paul Heyman being, nervous around Solo and the Tongas, and announcing, ladies and gentlemen, Solo Sikoa is now the head of the table, and then announcing Tama Tonga is the right-hand man, Tonga Loa is the infamous Tonga Loa. And then Solo Sikoa said, wait, we're not done yet. Aren't you going to thank Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa from saving you from Kevin Owens last week? At which point, Paul Heyman does a yes. I would like to thank Tonga Loa. Thank you, infamous Tonga Loa, for saving me. And then he turns to Tama Tonga. Thank you, Tama Tonga. And Tama Tonga leans in. And Paul Heyman repeats and goes, thank you, right-hand man, Tama Tonga. So it was, it was Paul Heyman selling how vicious and intimidating these guys are.
Yeah.
Which is a neat little wrinkle. It's not your opponent selling how vicious you are, because your opponents, are ready to go toe-to-toe with you. It's Paul Heyman, who's supposedly on your team, trying to put over how vicious these guys are. Okay, yeah, that's a new wrinkle.
Yep.
That seems to be the show. I mean, anything else you wanted to talk about as far as play-by-play here?
Dom, I think it's time.
It's drive time.
That's right.
We're driving a fast car here on the road to Clash at the Castle. We're rushing. We're running red lights and stop signs, and maybe not being the most courteous of drivers. We're maybe weaving in and out of traffic here, but it is time for the thumb drive, where you and I are going to distill this entire SmackDown into a simple thumbs up or thumbs down. There are no ties. There are also no star ratings, no number grades, no letter grades. You're taking this course, pass, fail.
Dom, we're not Dave Meltzer. We don't do star ratings. We don't do 7 stars in the Tokyo Dome. We don't do 2 stars at the SoFi Center. No. We just say thumbs up, thumbs down. Was the show good or was the show bad? So are you ready?
I am ready, sir.
3, 2, 1. Whoa!
Oh, my goodness. 2 thumbs down. I thought we were going to have a little back and forth here, disagreeing. 2 thumbs down. What say you there?
I am not going to lie. I was very close to giving it a thumbs up.
Okay.
And the main event just was flat for me. I was like, oh, a squash by this new Bloodline team. And I was like, it's just like they needed a really good main event to keep it going with after LA Knight and Carmelo Hayes. There was a lot of parts of the show where there were just promos kind of dragging on. I understand why they're doing it, and I understand that they have to kind of get this whole thing going with rivalries and heading to the next show. But if I was in Louisville, I'd probably be not happy because they didn't give me much there.
Okay, yeah, you didn't get anything much except for Inbred say what?
Yeah.
Despite Piper Niven's best efforts, I had to give this one a thumbs down as well. It was too much going on and just not enough good wrestling action.
Wow.
Like, I don't mind angles, but it just there was too much little stuff going on.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't have a good flow for me. There was one match worth talking about.
Right.
Even LA Knight could not save this SmackDown.
Yeah, he was awesome. He actually made it very close to thumbs up, and AJ Styles and Cody Rhodes segment was good too. So I think in the long haul, they're probably where they want it to be, and where they want it to be was it's setting up for the next show, but it wasn't particularly helpful for this show to just do all the setup.
I wonder what we're in for next week. We're probably going to skip the Friday SmackDown for a recap. We're going to save it for the next day, June 15th, Clash at the Castle. And then sometime later that weekend, because it is an odd time here being an overseas pay-per-view, we'll do a recap. We'll do a big old weekend recap that includes Clash at the Castle. So hopefully we get some more answers to the questions we had here. So I tell you what, though, for thumb drive there, you said we're not Dave Meltzer. And I got to tell you, that's true, isn't it?
This is true. We are not Dave Meltzer.
We are not Dave Meltzer. But do you know who is Dave Meltzer? Dave Meltzer. It's Dave Meltzer. It's time for Cheap Heat. This comes to us from Cinema Blend. Every WWE match Dave Meltzer has rated 5 stars in every decade. And they threw in the little and how to watch them there. This was published this week as sort of a nod to Backlash, where Dave Meltzer gave 5 stars to AJ Styles and Cody Rhodes in that title match. So let's go through the 2020s and the matches that we have seen here since we've been doing Don't Bury the Lead. So we'll go to the 5-star matches from the 2020s. Let's get our take as to whether we agree that these are 5-star matches. There's a lot of Gunther here. Walter versus Ilya Dragunov. This was before our time on NXT UK. Ilya Dragunov again versus Gunther when he was Walter at NXT TakeOver behind our time. This was just before we started watching Hell in a Cell 22, Cody Rhodes versus Seth Rollins. Then leading up to us was Clash at the Castle 22.
A lot of Gunther so far.
Gunther, oh, you've noticed. A lot of Gunther so far.
Yeah.
Versus Sheamus. Then here's one that we saw. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn versus the Usos. Agree with Dave or disagree with Dave here?
Disagree.
Disagree. What would you have given it? What would you have given it on the 5-star scale?
I think it was either 4 or 4.5 if I had to give it a rating, but I didn't think it was like the 5-star. Wow, this is like a classic, unbelievable match.
Okay.
I know that it was very close, and I think did you agree or disagree?
I will agree, and I'm a little confused though, because doesn't Dave Meltzer usually kind of discount storylines and just go by what he sees in the ring that night?
Yeah, but maybe they did a lot of callbacks. He loves callbacks.
This match was fantastic, and it was fantastic because of the build.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's
so
really
I thought it was a 5-star match. It was so enjoyable to watch. Everybody was so good at the ring psychology. It mattered, and it was a great. If it wasn't a 5-star match in the ring, it was close. But with the storyline, I thought it was a 5-star match. So I would have agreed with him on this one. Mm-hmm. This was a 5-star for me. You would say 4.5 maybe.
Yeah. So my 5 stars are usually like I give out 1, maybe 2 a year if I do 5 stars.
Okay.
I keep those very coveted.
Well, Dave gave out 2 on the same WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And we talked about triple threats that are tough. Maybe those are tough matches. Gunther versus Drew McIntyre versus Sheamus at WrestleMania 39. Agree or disagree with this one getting a 5?
I'll go ahead and say 4 stars.
4 stars for this one. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I will say this was the best triple threat match I've ever seen. This is the one that for me worked as a triple threat, where it didn't feel like, okay, one guy's taking a breather as 2 guys wrestle, and then like they're going to just swap in and out like it's volleyball.
Mm-hmm.
You know, as a triple threat match, this is the best I've seen. So if we're going to grade it on the curve for a triple threat match, I'd say this was a 5-star triple threat match.
There you go.
No, I will agree with Dave on this if we can give a caveat there. But this was a hard-hitting, stiff-worked match.
I'm just being a curmudgeon for my 5 stars.
You are not being a curmudgeon. You're actually doing the grading properly. You can't be giving out A's all over the place.
Yeah.
Cody Rhodes versus AJ Styles at Backlash. You've noticed that every 5-star that Meltzer gave out was Gunther or Cody Rhodes, except for the one with Sami and Kevin Owens versus the Usos. Agree or disagree, Cody Rhodes, AJ Styles at Backlash?
I will go back to that WrestleMania. Was that Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte Flair?
Wait, we'll answer other questions. How about this here? Do you agree or disagree with Dave 5?
I can give him 5.
Give him 5. It may be instant classic, like maybe it's too close. But is this the kind of match you think you'll remember in 6 months and be like, oh, that was a great Backlash match?
No, it was a really good match. I think I'll give him 5, especially with the wild crowd kind of pushing it over because the crowd was so insane.
Okay. I think this was for a one-on-one match that didn't involve shenanigans. I thought this was maybe as good a match as you can have in the modern sense. So I would say, okay, I can see him giving 5 to this one. Now, so now we've gone through, are the matches that Dave scored 5 stars worth the 5? Now the next question is, and you were jumping the gun there, but I like it. We were thinking all in the same lines. Are there any matches that you thought were 5 stars that Dave did not have on his list? And is there something else you notice about the matches here that Dave Meltzer is scoring 5 stars?
No women.
No women's matches. I noticed that too. If you had to put another match on here that you thought was 5 stars, would you put a women's match on there, or are there other men's matches you would put on there? Because another thing to take note of, there are no Roman Reigns matches on this.
Yeah, weird.
No Roman Reigns matches, no women's matches.
Okay.
Do you have a 5-star match that Dave Meltzer did not give 5 stars to that you would want to put on there? Especially since you have 2. So there are a couple of matches here that you would say would not be 5. So replace them with your 2 betters.
Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte.
Yes, agree wholeheartedly.
That was the best match on that entire WrestleMania pay-per-view. Was excellent.
Yep.
Excellent. I am shocked he didn't give that 5 stars.
Yes.
Roman Reigns versus Sami Zayn.
At Elimination Chamber. That's the best Roman Reigns match we've seen, right?
That might be the best match I've seen since I started watching WWE for the last year and a half, 2 years.
Okay. And the shenanigans didn't ruin it for you because it was just so well done everywhere?
It was so emotional and raw. It was so good.
Okay.
It was so good. That was such a good match.
Okay, so for you, you'd swap out one of the Sami Zayn matches here with another one.
Yeah.
You'd have a Roman Reigns there on the list, and we would throw a women's match in there.
The shenanigans, it was the best shenanigans I've ever seen, though.
Shenanigans
are never really annoying, but the shenanigans with them making him hit Kevin Owens, or no,
that was the end of the Royal Rumble one too. You like that one?
No. I'm sorry, I'm mixing that up. Sorry, not those shenanigans, but I just thought that Sami Zayn wrestled a great match, and the crowd, he was so over as a face, and it's so hard to get faces over, and they were just like screaming for him, like they were jumping up and down. They wanted him to win so bad. I have never seen a face get so much heat, and like the crowd want him to win so bad. So emotionally driven.
What I remember most about that match is that it was so obvious that they could not switch the belt there because they had been building Cody Rhodes' story forever.
Yeah.
It was so obvious that they could not switch the belt there. But if there was ever one person who could make you believe, well, maybe they will switch the belt here, it was Sami Zayn, wasn't it? There's no one else who could have done that, right?
No, there's nobody else that could have done that, and it would have just been the best swerve. I would have been so happy if they did it. Period.
Right?
Because they ended up doing nothing. If you can remember,
they just ended up doing another year of Roman Reigns.
Another year, kind of a weak year of Roman Reigns,
and then almost blowing the whole thing with The Rock.
Oh, right.
Getting crapped on social media.
Mm-hmm.
Coming to their senses. And doing the replay of the previous years, but just with a different finish.
Yeah.
So yes, I will agree with you wholeheartedly that if there were no women's matches on here, and Charlotte Rhea should have been on there, and that a Roman Reigns match that could have been 5 stars and should have been was the Sami Zayn one. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
Any other matches you had?
I don't think so. I mean, like you were saying, I don't want to overplay the 5-star.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to get in the position where, you've overplayed the 5-star and then you've got to go 6-star.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got to go 7-star. So I don't want to overplay 5-star.
Yeah.
Charlotte Rhea, Sammy and KO beating the Usos. So both of those back to back on night 1 of WrestleMania 39.
Anybody with the any matches with the Io Sky?
She's gotten a very recent singles push. Her match with Bayley at the most recent WrestleMania, I think, was awesome.
Yeah, that might have been the match of the night.
That may have been. She and I think Shayna Baszler had a Raw match that I wish I would have seen. That may have been like, a 5-star TV match. She had a match with Asuka on SmackDown earlier this year that may have been match of the year on free TV that we've seen.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, in the free TV division, there have been some great Io Sky matches.
What about her in Puerto Rico against Bianca Belair when they were cheering?
That was
for her?
such a strange match.
Yeah.
But it was. She was really good in that match. And Bianca, of course, is great as well.
That was Io's breakout match, though. So it wasn't a 5-star, but we're just talking about how good Io's been.
And that was such an unexpected match. Like, everybody was confused.
Mm-hmm.
That was just supposed to be a filler match for Bianca Belair to get her to the next pay-per-view.
Yeah.
And instead, she goes out there, gets half booed.
Yeah.
As everybody cheers the heel.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was such a strange match where the crowd almost took over. But it was a kind of match where I think the crowd took over because the crowd saw something that the WWE office had not yet seen and should have.
Yeah.
And they saw how talented Io was and that she deserved a run as a singles wrestler. Maybe not with a belt, but just give her a chance as a singles wrestler.
And at the time, Bianca was a little stale as a babyface, had that John Cena vibe going.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, the crowd's kind of booing her, huh? Like sometimes they get sick of the baby faces and they start booing them.
Yeah. And they managed to get the belt off of Bianca with Asuka and then have that little double win when Io cashed in Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
At a big pay-per-view. That was a lot of stuff was well done, but would I give it 5 stars? I don't think so. But yeah, I don't think that Io has had a 5-star match yet, although she's come really close, maybe 4.5, 4 3/4 with the match that, ironically, she lost to Bayley.
Yeah, that was probably her best match.
Yeah, that was a good
and that's a good time to have your best match at WrestleMania.
Good timing. Even if you're not going to be the one with your hand raised at the end.
Mm-hmm.
And do your best work at WrestleMania, and she did.
That whole program was good. They set everything up.
Yeah.
They did the breakup. Yep. They did that really good match. Yeah, that one was I think that, and I made a video that said that's going to be the surprise of the pay-per-view, and then it was.
Yes. So let's give the Usos versus Sammy and KO treatment to that one. If you count storyline build into the match, will you go 5 stars the way KO and Sammy beating the Usos got 5?
Yeah, storyline's got to be there. It's got to be perfect. Okay. That's the whole point.
Storyline was there and match. So if we're going to combine storyline and match, and that one gets a 5.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm satisfied with that take.
Yeah,
I like that. You've talked me into it. Yes.
Talk to you.
Yeah, because we're going to be consistent. If KO and Sammy versus the Usos at WrestleMania got 5 because of what a great build-up it was to the match, then yeah, maybe Io Bayley deserves the 5 for how they built that one. Yeah, I like that. Let's go with that. Speaking of 5-star wrestlers, how about the return of MJF?
Oh, yeah.
A few things from this. He gives an interview here to Justin Barrasso at Sports Illustrated. And we are going to look about this for a couple of things. Number one, MJF looks like he's not only been rehabbing his injured shoulder, but he's been hitting the gym.
He's jacked now. Jacked.
He looks jacked. Yeah. All right, good for him. I wanted to bring up a couple of things. Before he returned to TV and his contract was in question, at least in the kayfabe sense, there were MJF chants for Triple H on the Pat McAfee show during WrestleMania weekend. This guy is way over MJF.
Oh yeah.
And also he mentioned losing the belt to Samoa Joe. Full transparency, my shoulder was so messed up I couldn't even do cardio. When I ran my arms would swing slightly and the pain would be unbearable. But I got the ring on that night to do my job. Frankly, I find that interesting. A lot of people in my generation are
Please print that.
I mean, let's see what this could have been. It's pussies, right?
Yeah.
It's pussies or pansies. He probably said pussies.
My generous pussies. And then he says, please print that.
Please print that. They're too afraid to get in there when they have a boo-boo. That's not how I operate. So this is a little bit of a shoot and a work here from MJF, which is kind of his calling card.
Oh, yeah.
MJF is shoot work guy, both.
Mm.
If you put MJF on the top of the billing, I'm showing up. What say you about MJF? There's a lot to unpack here. How does he look to you now that he's back? Do you like how he's looked? He looks a lot more cut. Do you like him since he's come back? What do you think about his shoulder injury, which we thought was legitimate?
Yeah.
That it was not like him faking a shoulder injury. What do you think of how he went out and dropped the belt? How he wrestled into that loss in that match?
Perfect. He dropped us to the perfect guy. He was injured. He was shooting a movie. That's why he needed to drop the belt. He was shooting a movie. So I'm curious about that shoulder injury. Like he might still have been there, but I'm curious with how bad it is because he was definitely shooting a movie, and that's why
you could shoot a movie with a bad shoulder. You can't exactly throw a 300-pound man around a ring,
yeah,
safely with a bad shoulder. So you watch AEW. You like the MJF return? Is it the right time?
Yeah, I think it's a good little bit of time to lay off. He doesn't have the title, and then they're gonna have him feud with Adam Cole, who's a little weak, to be honest with you, but they've had a long storyline going with them, so they should have some good back and forth on the mic about how they hate each other, and yeah, looking forward to that.
MJF is becoming one of my favorite wrestlers who I don't actually watch because really and you've pointed this out before, his knowledge of wrestling history, but also recent history and his respect for the business. He has his new Wolf of Wrestling t-shirt. The AEW guys, their merchandising department called it mistakenly Lone Wolf.
Mm-hmm.
MJF says, it's the Wolf of Wrestling. Lone Wolf is taken and tagged Baron Corbin.
Yeah.
Which led to Baron Corbin replying, that shirt is money, and MJF saying back to him, thanks, B-Dog.
Right.
So, I mean, he didn't have to put over Baron Corbin here.
Yeah.
But he was like, no, I'm not Lone Wolf. That's another guy's already doing that. I'm not taking somebody else's gimmick.
Yeah, he has a good relationship with him for some reason. They kind of go back and forth sometimes. I think because they're both on Twitter a lot.
And they're in different promotions, but like they're not kayfabe hating each other.
Yeah.
I like it. MJF is becoming my favorite wrestler who don't actually get to see wrestle. So he's very good there. In some other non-wrestling news from a guy we don't get to see wrestle, not Drew McIntyre, he's wrestling. This comes to us from WrestleZone here. Drew McIntyre welcomes Steve Austin into the cat life, offers cat dad advice. Speaking of social media, Stone Cold Steve Austin, he apparently has a cat, two of them, including one named after Macho Man Randy Savage. Okie doke. And Drew McIntyre is saying, I love all animals. I love dogs. I said the same thing to Stone Cold. Dogs give love out for free. We like that. That's cool. But with cats, you've got to earn it. And they become your little companion once you've earned that trust. You have a cat.
I do.
What do you think of Stone Cold Steve Austin getting cats, and about some of the advice here from Drew McIntyre? This is about as cheap a heat as we can get.
Yes, and we will show the video. Do you have it of him combing the cat and grooming the cat from his TikTok account?
Oh, that's a good question here. Is this it?
Yeah.
This looks like Drew McIntyre on TikTok. Let's go.
I wonder if it'll
Let's
come
go
up
to
for you.
TikTok. Let's see here. I am not a TikTok member. I wonder if they will let me see it here.
There you go.
There we go. So that's big enough for people to see. And there he is. He's the Claw from Inspector Gadget right now. Tell me in the chat, tell me in the comments, do you catch that reference?
I got it. I knew what
There
it was.
you go. Stroking the black cat. Although you can see Drew McIntyre's face. So it's not quite the same. There we go. Yeah, this is Drew McIntyre on TikTok. There you go. What do you like about cats? There you go. You could see the words coming up on screen there. Sure.
There's if you scroll down a little bit, I'm gonna see if they have it. Wait, scroll up. Scroll down to those other videos at the bottom. It says Drew McIntyre bathroom. Hang on. There's one where he's in the bathroom grooming the cat. It's like absurd.
Okay. These are like two of the same thing here. Just outside talking, grooming the cat.
Click into Drew McIntyre. Maybe he got rid of it. I don't know. Click into his profile name. And then scroll down a little bit. There's the cat. Oh, maybe his wife posted it or something because it was.
My fire burns, venting. I will never forgive CM Punk.
Oh, well, I'll find it later.
Maybe you could splice that in if you make a short video of this.
Yeah, I plan to.
Yeah, there we go. So, and you can cut out all of the awkwardness between you and me. But Stone Cold Steve Austin, welcome to the world of cats, as welcomed by Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre, are cats baby faces or heels?
I think cats are baby faces, but I love cats.
Okay.
And I agree with these two, where you have to. A dog just loves you, but you have to develop a relationship with the cat, and then once you do, forget it. It's it's a really good thing.
So cat starts off as a heel, and you have to turn it babyface.
It starts off as a heel, then you got to turn it babyface. You got to feed it, you got to pet it, and you don't just run up and try to pet it. You sit there, right? And you sit there and you let them come to you.
Oh, you let the storyline develop. It's a slow burn of an angle.
Then the cat's over by you, and you pet them, and then suddenly, before you know it, they're sleeping in bed with you every night.
There you go, and suddenly it's just a cheap pop.
It's a cheap pop, yeah.
There you go. The cat is there. It's like hello in whatever city you're in.
Right.
There you go, Drew McIntyre. I'm a quiet leader in the locker room. Does the rest of the locker room need pet advice? I don't know. Whatever. So there we go. Let's jump over to some more people who are in maybe the movies.
Ooh.
Since we talked about MJF.
Yeah.
This comes to us from Coming Soon. That is Tiffany Stratton. She signs with a major Hollywood agency, Paradigm. This is early in her career for this to be happening.
Very early.
Have you thought that she's like that good an actress? I mean, I think she's really good at her character, but her character is a heel. We've noticed that it's easier to be a heel than to be a baby face.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think that she was that good of an actress that she's signing with big Hollywood agencies, but maybe they see something in her and they just want to get in on the ground floor. Maybe they know that a lot of pro wrestlers are moving to Hollywood and they want to sign her early. She's definitely got star written all over her in the wrestling ring. Do you think she's got star written all over in Hollywood movie sense?
She has a certain charisma to her.
Yes.
That would be interesting to see. I wonder what kind of training she's had in acting, and maybe she could just reference that she's been in the WWE. I know a lot of wrestlers have made bad movies.
Yeah.
So she might be able to just be like, "Hey, I'll make a Netflix bad movie." Oh,
Particularly with the upcoming deal between WWE and Netflix
yeah,
poised to
because they're
increase wrestling's
working for.
mainstream exposure. The agency reportedly aims to replicate the success stories of The Rock, John Cena, and Dave Bautista, all WWE superstars who became A-list actors, but that was much later in their careers when they had more chops.
They were A-list wrestlers. She's not an A-list wrestler.
They're jumping way early in Tiffany Stratton here.
Yeah.
This
Maybe-
is a much bigger chance here.
Mhm.
They also plan to support Stratton's career, exploring opportunities in acting, brand partnerships, books, graphic novels, public speaking, and more. Okie dokes.
Mhm.
She's been making waves on the roster. Now she's making waves outside. We'll see how that goes after that. Speaking of wrestlers who've made bad movies, from WrestleZone, Hulk Hogan gets hacked on Twitter. Tells Iggy Azalea he has the real milk. Oh, Hulkster. You suck at pumping. I'll reduce this here so we can get the whole graphic in. You suck at pumping. Hulk has the real milk. That was responding to all these crybabies want to suck on laugh my ass off. There you go. And then Hulk Hogan's apparently hacked account. You suck at pumping. Hulk has the real milk. Okie doke. Hulk would later take to Instagram to announce he'd been hacked. On a post on his Twitter would probably be removed following posting this statement apparently on Instagram, which we'll bring that up again, better size. Hello, family. Appreciate your love and support always. Please do not take notice of any posts I posted today. They are not from me and will be promptly removed. Thank you, Hulk. Okie doke. Gotta watch what you click when you're online.
Did she take a shot back at Hulk?
It says here, yes, and they say due to the nature of the post, we won't be embedding it. I didn't think it was that bad a post. It's burns in 30 minutes. It's her butt with a backwards face Hulk Hogan on it, on her head.
Mean? That's not an insult, is it?
I don't know what that is. Tell us in the chat, tell us in the comments, do you know what the hell is going on between Hulk Hogan and Iggy Azalea? Iggy Azalea. Do you have any idea what Iggy's doing? Do you have any idea what Hulk is doing? I'm catching zero of the references here. What is head on backwards? Here's my butt cheeks. There you go. You wanted to see it. There it is.
Mm-hmm. That's it. All right. Well, I'm sorry I made you pull that up because I don't get it either.
Let's go to social media and movies together.
Wow.
Liv Morgan floods Dominic Mysterio's Instagram notifications with post likes. This is genius.
This is really good idea.
This is absolutely genius. Dominic Mysterio puts out a minute-long video of him scrolling through Liv Morgan liking, hundreds of his posts? This is freaking genius. I love everything about this, including Dominic writing back, really, with a question mark, and adding Liv Morgan's account. Liv Morgan also was at the movie premiere of Bad Boys. She brought the belt. I love this too.
Keeping a kayfabe.
This is genius. She is stalking Dominic Mysterio on social media. Then she's walking around in public in a non-wrestling capacity with the belt. If she's making people call her champ, that's even better. I mean, my goodness, this is working. We don't get to see this because it's on Raw, but this is working, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
this is wonderful. I mean, Liv Morgan she's not, she doesn't have the MMA chops of Shayna Baszler or Asuka.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't have the high flying and gymnastics chops of Io Sky and Tiffany Stratton. She wasn't, just all world in NXT and just pushed to the moon like the 3Bs, Becky, Bayley, and Bianca. She's not
Rhea Ripley
the
and
big
Charlotte
monster.
Flair. Yeah.
She doesn't have the pedigree and maybe the genes like Charlotte Flair.
Mhm.
She doesn't have the monster physique like Nia Jax, Jade Cargill, Rhea Ripley.
Mm-hmm.
But she gets wrestling. She's good enough as a wrestler in the ring, and she totally gets wrestling psychology. She is 100% into her character, and they've given her a great character, which I figured out what her character is. She is the universal hot, crazy Matrix come to life. Tell me in the chat if you remember the hot, crazy Matrix.
Play it.
If you do not have it, go find it. It has been reposted on YouTube. If you're not watching us on YouTube, watch Don't Bury the Lead on YouTube. Get to our channel on YouTube, like us, subscribe to us, and then go find the hot, crazy Matrix. Liv Morgan is the hot, crazy Matrix comes to life. Like, she is at least a 9 hot on the hot scale.
Mm-hmm.
She is also at least a 9 crazy, which means she is right on the boundary. This is her character, and it's brilliant. And she refuses to give it. She refuses to half-ass it.
Yeah.
She is just blowing up Dominic Mysterio's phone on Instagram. She's taking the belt with her and acting like she's a wrestling champ at movie premieres where she's not even involved.
She's not even in the movie.
She's not even in the movie. She's like, she got invited there and she's like showing up with the belt. Kissing the belt. Take the picture of me with the belt. Kiss the belt. This is brilliant. If there's one thing I wish we could be watching that we're not seeing on SmackDown, it's Liv Morgan as the hot, crazy Matrix girl.
Yes, that would be
with
good.
the belt. So that's what I got for you. It's cheap. It's heat. It's cheap heat. Cheap heat is on the cheap heat matrix. We are at least a 9 cheap. And we're hoping to be at least a 9 heat. We are hoping to be on that line as well, on the cheap heat matrix. Let's move to the Italian goodbye. YouTubers might cheer you up more than certain people, says a study.
Mm-hmm.
You found this and sent it to me, and this is disturbing. This is disturbing that apparently 52% of respondents felt they had a strong parasocial relationship. That's more than half. What is parasocial relation? What is that? It means you're obsessing over a YouTuber and you feel like you know them. Like they're your real friend. This is just celebrity worship happening on YouTube with people who are not celebrities.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us in the chat, tell us in the comments. Have you developed a parasocial relationship with John and I? With John and me, with one of us individually or both? Are you now in a parasocial relationship with Don't Bury the Lead?
I welcome it too. We need dedicated subscribers.
Absolutely. Stalk us online, not in real life.
Don't come to the house.
No.
Do come to the live shows.
No. Do not be one of the 36% who said they felt close to a YouTuber. Do not be close to us. But parasocial stalk us on the YouTube channel. Like everything we've put out. Subscribe to our channel. Blow up John's phone with notifications because you have liked and commented on every Don't Bury the Lead video.
And make them nice comments.
Do it. Yes. Make them nice comments, or just do what Liv did to Dominic Mysterio and just like everything so that John can make a video of him scrolling through his notifications for a minute and a half.
Yeah.
Yes. Be in the 16% who is parasocial without actually thinking they want to find the person in real life and come to their house.
Mm-hmm.
So be amongst the 52 who is not the 36. Do that. It's the Italian goodbye. I do not feel like a parasocial relationship with any YouTube people. Not even you, John. Don't be offended. We are friends in real life. I have not developed an online crush for you.
So if you scroll up here, up at the top, I saw the headline. YouTubers might cheer you up more than certain people in the study. So what I wanted to say was, hey, if you're watching at home right now, stay at home and watch us every Friday night. Do you have some friends to go meet up with at the bar? Don't do that. Do you have to wake up early? Nah. Just stay up with us way late into the night and skip that
Bring
morning.
your phone or your laptop or your tablet to the bar. Get your friends to watch us on the live stream at the bar with you. Yes, make all of them parasocials.
And
well, that's brilliant.
I think
Might cheer you up. Tell us in the chat. Tell us in the comments. Do John and I cheer you up? We try. We try to make it positive. We want this to be constructive, even if we have something we're not very fond of. We're trying to be constructive about it.
We have one person on Twitch and one person on Twitter. So, guys, if you want, guys or girls, if you want to weigh in here.
Do we cheer you up? Thank you wherever you are finding us on the live stream. Head on over to the YouTube channel for our archive of clips that John makes that are shorter clips from our live streams here. The shorts that are the under 60-second clips that go out as well. And, of course, you can watch any of our full shows anytime you want. We love it. And tell us if we cheer you up.
Tell it to us.
That's what I got for you. And that's what you had for us as well. Do we cheer you up?
And that's cheap heat.
I like it. So what do we got planned for let's see when these next pay-per-views are happening here.
I have to step away if you want to
sure.
Go on about.
Let me do a little reading here. This is me mistyping trying to go to the WWE website. Let me just type in WWE pay-per-views 2024. Let's look here. WWE pay-per-view list. Do 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 do. Clash at the Castle in Scotland on June 15th. Money in the Bank from Toronto is going to be 3 weeks after Clash at the Castle. It's going to be on July 6th from Toronto. SummerSlam is going to be 4 weeks after that. August 3rd in Cleveland. Bash in Berlin is going to be 4 weeks after that on August 31st. From Memorial Day weekend to Labor Day weekend, there are going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 WWE Premium Live events for the main roster that does not count NXT Battleground in Las Vegas that is on June 9th, nor NXT Heat Wave on July 7th. This is amazing. Starting with King and Queen of the Ring in Saudi Arabia, not Backlash, I'm sorry. Backlash was earlier, May 4th. But starting with King and Queen of the Ring, it's King and Queen of the Ring, Clash at the Castle, Money in the Bank, SummerSlam, Bash in Berlin. Tell us in the chat, tell us in the comment, Are you getting maxed out or overloaded on WWE Premium Live events? Is it too much in too short of an area? On the other hand, are they trying to counter the fact that maybe live primetime TV viewership drops a little during the summer months in the US? So they're trying maybe to compensate with that with more premium live events. Maybe that's the theory. I'm not sure.
What are you talking about?
But I'll go with either one. John, what say you about 5 premium live events from Memorial Day weekend to Labor Day weekend?
Sheesh.
5. King and Queen of the Ring, Clash at the Castle, 3 weeks after King and Queen of the Ring. Money in the Bank, 3 weeks after Clash at the Castle. SummerSlam, 4 weeks after Money in the Bank. Bash in Berlin, 4 weeks after SummerSlam.
I have some theories. You want to hear them?
Sure.
Well, when the NFL hits, guess what probably usually takes ratings? The NFL games. So they don't want to go head to head with the NFL. They're squeezing them all in while it's regular season baseball. You know?
Isn't that why they moved to, maybe in part why they moved to Saturday rather than Sunday?
Yeah.
Already trying to mitigate that? I threw out the theory that maybe they know that live TV viewing on broadcast television and cable drops a little during the summer months in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe they're trying to compensate with premium live events, knowing that maybe SmackDown and Raw ratings will take a little bit of a decline.
I can see that, yeah.
Or maybe this is the way to keep interest in Raw and SmackDown, saying like, you never know what's going to happen. We're going to be maybe setting something up for the premium live event.
Yeah, I think it's a good point. Either way, I like the premium live events overseas, and they're just a couple hours. I like that they're on Saturdays, too. They've done a great job with Saturdays. Their old pay-per-view system was Sunday night, and it took forever.
Yeah.
I would probably just have to miss the Sunday night matches because I go to bed. I have to get up for work in the morning. So
yeah, right. Well, it looks like Clash at the Castle will be a Saturday afternoon, and Bash in Berlin, August 31st, is likely going to be a Saturday afternoon for us here in the States.
Interesting in Germany.
Yep. Bash in Berlin, which I still say they should have named the Berlin Brawl. I will bring that up every time. How did you not say it was the Berlin Brawl?
To the wall? Berlin
yes.
Brawl. I know.
And they're going to tear it down at the Berlin Brawl.
Tear down that wall.
Yes. Gunther and whoever else he's wrestling are going to tear it down at the Berlin Brawl. It just writes itself.
It really does.
So that's what I wanted to just bring up there, just as far as a little looking ahead.
Yeah, and for us, Dom, we got to figure out when we're going to meet up to do the show.
Yeah, when do you want to do Clash at the Castle?
I might be busy that Saturday and Sunday, so maybe Monday when I get back.
Monday evening.
Are you around Monday or during the day?
I could be around Monday during the evening or day, probably. I could be around Sunday night if you just need to push it a day because there's something on Saturday.
Yeah, I wonder what because I'll be down the beach, so I don't know what my schedule is going to be like down the beach. I'll talk to Liz and get back to you.
You're going to be bashing at the beach during Clash at the Castle.
Yeah. So I'm going to have a drink. I'm probably not even going to watch the pay-per-view because I'll be on the beach, and then I'll watch the replay Saturday night. And then once I watch the replay, I'll have all my notes, and I could do the show after that. So maybe I could do like Sunday if there's nothing going on Sunday, but I feel like we'll have to go out at some point, you know. Or, you know, the baby goes to bed. Liz is tired, wants to go back. I'll let you know, and I'll be like, hey, let's do the show tonight, Sunday late.
It might be spur of the moment.
Right. I might have a couple, what are those drinks? High noons. Do you know what those are?
I do not. What tell the folks at home listening to Don't Bury the Lead and me what is a high noon?
It's like a gin and a juice kind of a drink.
Okay.
It's like half. It's one little bit of it's whatever a shot of gin, and then that's mixed with seltzer water,
Mhm.
and then they put a little bit of like orange juice or pineapple juice and mix that
Okay, a
into.
little bit of the citrusy sourness there.
Mm-hmm.
The
Yeah,
tang from that with the it's almost like a soda.
yeah.
It's like a tangy soda. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds fine. I like that.
And they're delicious, and they're great for the summer.
Okay.
Because if
Very
you're
good.
drinking beer and you're outside, it's like all heavy, you know.
Ah, okay.
I'm gonna get you really dehydrated. I'm
All right. So, you're planning this properly for the activities that will be taking place during the mini vacation here to the shore.
Yeah, and it's a tastier drink than beer. It's like a
Okay.
tastier, lighter, outdoory drink.
Okay. A lot of places like the nano breweries, the craft breweries, they're doing seasonal beers.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of the porters and stouts that I like are probably going away or
Yeah.
taking a back seat for the summer.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, very good. I wonder. I may need to pick up a beer for. I'm being interviewed on Monday, so I may have to pick up a beer this weekend, and I
What's
wonder
that?
what it'll be.
Mm. Getting interviewed. Why?
I'm getting interviewed. I'm going back on the Jeff Macalino podcast.
Oh yeah, and he's like a booze hound.
He enjoys his whiskey from a pint glass during the podcast.
Whiskey from a pint glass.
From a pint glass, it is full.
Sheesh.
It's there. It's whiskey in the pint glass. There's ice,
Mhm.
but it's more than say your normal 2-ounce serving of the spirits.
Yeah, he's getting
So
into it.
we're there. We're going to talk probably some of my Substack writings. Last time we talked book. Now
Oh,
we talk
cool.
Substack. We're just going to have a fun old conversation. We may even talk about an online show that's streaming on Amazon that I watched years ago, and he was looking for show requests. So I sent him this one and said, why don't you try this? The Booth at the End. It's over on Amazon, and even if you don't have Prime Video, you can watch it with commercials.
Mm.
And so we may talk a little bit about that, considering that he's an actor and a comedian, and trying his hand at maybe a little bit of screenwriting as well.
Wow.
So we may talk a little bit about what some good shows that we've seen. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. Last time, first time I was on his show, it was the first published interview that I did about my book, Good Neighbor, Bad Citizen, which you can find on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Lulu.com. Publishing on demand. When you order, they'll print the book for you, or you can order the ebook. And I wound up mentioning that podcast interview because it was just so much fun, and we talked about a ton of stuff in, I think, 4 different Substack articles, weekly articles that I continue to do.
Yeah.
3 of those 4 times I did excerpts from our conversation and threw them into the article. So I am going to enjoy the heck out of that interview, which is scheduled for this Monday, the 10th.
Well done.
We'll see when, if and when that gets published.
Yeah, that's very cool. I like the first version or the first show you had with him.
Yes,
I think you do a good job of not hitting stereotypical points. I think you do an excellent job of just saying like, this is how you feel principled wise about a certain topic, and you're not just like, oh, I'm a Democrat or I'm a Republican. It's like, oh, this is a topic. This is what I think. So I appreciate that about you.
Well, very good. Thank you. I appreciate that feedback. Yeah, I try. I'm nonpartisan. You know,
exactly. You don't have like, you're not like, I'm a Democrat, so I should feel this way. It's like, no, I feel this way because I have principles. Duh. A lot of people don't understand that.
I've thought it through, and I'm I'm the voluntarist. I'm the extremist in the group. So
Right.
if you have to ask me what team I'm on, the answer is not yours.
I know. I'm if I'm around some of my more liberal friends, they don't like some of the stuff I say sometimes. And if I'm around some of my more conservative friends, they don't like what I have to say sometimes,
There you go.
'Cause I just look at the topic and I look at my principles and I say, okay, this is what I think. But anyway, Dom, we're getting into politics. Ooh.
Just an itty bitty. We could do wrestling politics if you want. Backstage politics in
Backstage
wrestling.
politics. We need the man with 3 H's on the
The
stream.
man with 3 H's to come on back and address some of the backstage politics in WWE and maybe other wrestling promotions.
He's the king of it.
How about backstage politics? Apparently, Chad Gable, his contract may or may not have expired, and they're still doing a program with him on Raw.
Wow.
I don't know what that means. Did they give him just a 1 month extension or something to stay on and finish the program? Did they quietly resign him and didn't want to announce it because they wanted to keep people in suspense? What's going on?
Yeah.
Are they just going to drop this program from Raw? It's involving Sami Zayn. It was close to top of the card.
Yeah. Well, Tom, I think we had a really good show tonight. Appreciate you hopping in here. We got a lot of good stuff coming down the road here. I'll make some short videos, maybe about MJF. That was a good one. The Dave Meltzer one was awesome. Actually, we really might need to make one about that. And then also Logan Paul playing Tetris is also kind of sticking out to me. So
Drew McIntyre and the Cats.
Drew McIntyre and the Cat.
Our Cat's heels are baby faces. That has to be a video.
Oh, you're right. Our Cat's heels are baby faces. Come on.
Yes.
But
we got to get all the cat lovers on board. To have parasocial relationships with us.
All right. That's a good one. I'll make that video. And I'll tell you what, Dom, thanks so much for joining. If you're watching now, I know we don't have anybody on YouTube, but we have people on Twitch and X, aka Twitter. Check out our channel. We have one video that is very close to breaking our record. It's a breakdown of Edge, aka Adam Copeland, falling. But I kind of took some footage from different angles and show what happened and show what could have happened if he did it correctly. But the move was a botch, so it didn't end so well. Broke his leg.
Okay. Yeah, that looks like it may be challenging for top spot of 2024 so far.
That's right.
Our best one of 2024 is something about Stephanie McMahon and some of the fallout she had to receive with when the Vince story broke of the lawsuit. That one's there. Sami Zayn getting a brutal real-life injury from a table in Canada. And Dirty Dominic Mysterio getting booed at his wedding. This was all fun stuff. Maybe the Adam Copeland brutal elbow drop will surpass some of those in views. It's on its way after just a few days.
Yeah. It's
we
done
like
really
it.
well. People are hanging
We like
into
it. Check out that.
All right, Dom. I think I'm going to call it a show. And my name's John Zedell. This is Dom Sarcella. Thanks so much for joining, everyone. Have a great rest of your